Okay, time's a little bit off. Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. It is April 28th. We have 2 more days left in this month. So, what does that mean for everybody? What do we all do? Come on, admit it. We wait till the end of the month because the buyers pay less closing costs at the end of the month. So, we just cram all the crap into the last 2 days of the month. And then everybody was crazy because the surveyors are nuts and the title companies are nuts and the mortgage brokers are nuts and stress happens and shit goes on. And this is real life real estate, right? So, what could you do to avoid those problems? Not closed at the end of the month. But we probably, I don't know, we probably have 30 or 40 closings the next 2 days, maybe more. It's going to be a lot. So the message is leave Joy alone. She will work through it all. And that's how it kind of goes. But anyway, it is a very interesting market. Somebody sent me a screenshot yesterday of a TV show. I guess it was today's show. And it said Tampa is the number 4 hottest real estate market for buyers in the country. This will be on sales meeting tomorrow, too. Number 4 market in the country for buyers. Now, that's a headline that was on NBC News. What other headlines have you seen? Come on, give me some chats here. Good morning, everybody. Have you seen any headlines that the market's crashing? Recession is coming. The market's going to die. Sales are fewer than they've ever been before. And then you say, yes, yes, all the time. There's all kinds of conflicting stories out there. So, what's my message to you today is you create your own economy. So I've got 2 stories I'm going to tell you, and then we're going to talk about planning the week because today is Monday. Yes, Laura, thank you. Today is Monday, and we got a whole week ahead of us. So are we just going to be like a cork and bob around in the sea and see where the tide takes us? Or are we going to have a mission and a focus and point our rudder in a direction and head that way? So that's what I want the clarity at the end of today is you guys have clarity on what exercises you're going to take. All right. So I'm going to start this one, and I don't mean this sincerely, but buyers are liars. That's not true. Buyers don't know what they want, and they tell you what they think they want, and then they change their minds and they want something different. So, super cool. We had a buyers call on my Hammock Bay project. And when they found out the price range was $2 million, they said, no, we can't really afford that, but we'd like to buy on the coast. And we want to spend like a million and a half, which we have options for that too. So Jennifer, my partner in the project, referred it to one of our agents here, who did a great job and met the customer. We took them on a boat tour. They don't know what they want until they actually get looking exactly. So these people had no idea. They're not boaters. They just want to own waterfront property. They're from Georgia. Um, Son goes to school at USF. You had all this stuff out when you ask questions, right? Because selling is really a matter of asking questions, right? You can sell, 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 but when you see through John Smith's eyes, then you see what John Smith buys. So if you're not asking questions, you don't know what they want. So they just want the security of having waterfront because they think waterfront's going to go up in value, which is a great thing for most of our markets are near water, right? So anyway, they decided, they wanted to buy a house like a million to a million and a half, which is great. So we did the boat tour, sold the hell out of them on the area, right? It's a lifestyle. We're not selling houses. We didn't show one house, but we showed dolphins swimming by and manatees in the canal and seabirds. And I mean, she was more excited about watching the mullet jump out of the canal, which is like a boring fish to me. But that just seeing mullet, oh, do they do that all the time? Yeah, they do it all the time. And when do you see the dolphins come behind your house? You're going to freak out. And they just go, oh my God. So we sold a lifestyle. And that's what the boat tour does. So if you ever have the opportunity to do that, do that. Um, so anyway, long story short, finished the boat tour, sold the area and the lifestyle of the area. They came back the next day to go to the builder because Park Square Home still has some houses available in the $1 million plus range. And but this is a lesson for all of us, real life real estate, right? The builder advertises the house for X, and they show you the model, which is Y, and to go from X to Y costs money. This is an option. This is an option. They go to the design center and they spend an extra 100 grand to make the house look like they want it to look. So $1,000,003 house becomes $1,000,004. $1,000,004 house becomes $1,000,005. $1 million house becomes $1,000,001. And then you still got to put a pool and a dock and all that other stuff. So they realize, wow. So the $1,000,003 is enticing, but it's really $1,000,004. And then they had a total mind shift. They called me yesterday afternoon and said, um, we've changed our minds. We want to buy 2 lots in Hammock Bay. 2 lots. They went from $1.5 million house to buying 2 lots for $1,600,000 apiece. That's $1,200,000. And then they still got to build a house. So they lied about their budget. Buyers are liars, right? No, they just don't trust us all. They'll find the money, right? So they made a decision to buy 2 lots. So last night I wrote 2 reservations for them. They just texted me this morning and said, we're going to let one of those go because we want to buy one of the more prestigious lots also. So they were going to spend 600 on one, 600 on the other, and now they want to dump one of the 600s and go buy one closer to $1 million. So now they're going to spend $1.5 million just on land when they only want to spend $1.5 million on a house. So what's the lesson in that story? It's not buyers or liars. They're confused, right? Chris did a really good job talking about this the other day. The market's not crazy. It's complicated. It's confusing, right? Sell the lifestyle. That's it. Sell lifestyle, sell lifestyle, sell lifestyle. And then they started picturing themselves living that life and that lifestyle. And, there's something about, I guess, the more wealthy people, there's a competition factor. Well, I don't want to, you can't be closer to the bay than me. I want to be closer. So who knows what they're going to do? I've got an appointment to call her afternoon because I'm booked straight through till noon today. But what a cool story, right? So, lesson there, buyers are not liars. You need to ask them lots of questions and you need to basically help them clear the clutter in their minds because they don't know what's going on. And that's the value we really bring, right? It doesn't matter um, what they say, it matters how they feel. And we drive feelings by asking questions and then demonstrating features and benefits that answer or overcome those objections if they have them. Right. So cool story for the weekend. So in the market where everybody's saying it sucks and nothing's going on, if you noticed last week, we had 12 deals on the hot sheet on Monday. We had 24 on Tuesday. We had 999 on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 3 nines. That's 60 sales in the week, which is transferring to 240, which is probably about a 20% increase over what we did same month last year, if that number persists. So we'll see what the hot sheet says today. So don't let the media focus you on bullshit because some media says it's the worst market ever. Some media says Tampa's the hottest marketplace and number 4 in the country. Kathleen, I got 3 offers last week. Yeah, that'd be crazy, right? So it's all about things. Jackie Stone tells me, Craig, I sold 3 this week. I sold 5. Heidi Seddon called, I sold 5 this week. Holy shit, what are you guys doing? And then other people are saying, oh my God, my listings aren't selling and buyers aren't out. And guys, it's all here. It's what goes on between these two things, these 2 holes in your head. That's where the confusion's coming in. So we got to fix that. Okay. So story number 1. Story number 2, my Uncle John, my rich Uncle John calls me last night and he's a hoot. We have a lot of fun talking to each other. And Rachel Jordan, I have 3 listings coming in this week. Listings are the key, guys. Get as many as you can, right? And charge for them. And sometimes even charge up front. I know agents that are charging up front because it costs more money to promote them out. So that's okay. Anyway, so Uncle John calls, and Uncle John called me a month ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he's got a $7 million house in Denver, Colorado. And he listed it, and he's so proud. He sent me pictures, and it is gorgeous. It really, really is a gorgeous home. 3.5 acres with a pond, and Cherry Hills, Colorado, which is a pretty posh neighborhood. And sent me pictures. I mean, it's like 8,500 square feet. It's got a horse barn and all kinds of cool stuff, and it's really pretty. So he's all excited. It's going to sell real fast. But he told me, and this is the message, the agents decided to price it at $6.8 million. Hear those words? The agents decided to price it at $6.8 million. John's like, I paid 3.5 for it. I put another 500,000 in it. So I've got 4 million bucks in it and I don't want it anymore. I've got another house in Manhattan Beach and I'm buying another house in Colorado and Chicago, and I don't need this big house anymore. And he wants to be done with it because he needs some money out of that to go buy something big in Chicago. Right. So agents price his home, brokers open happens, and all the feedback comes in. The house should be 5.5, which is a valid reason for having a broker's open on your listing to get other brokers' opinions. right? And if you're going to ask for their opinions, you should consider them. So the other brokers came in at 5 point and said it really should be around 5.5 instead of 6.9. That's a pretty big, what is that, 20%? It's a lot. So John says, okay, let's do that. And they go, no, we think we should go to 5.9 instead of 5.5. And John's like, you're the experts. So he's listening. They're fighting him. And he's like, telling the agent, no, you don't understand. I want this gone. He says, why don't we lower the price to 4.9 and just, there's a lot of homes for sale in this neighborhood. And my uncle's really smart on real estate. That's what he did. He did a specialized loan servicing company. He did all the foreclosures and stuff for bank loans. So he knows how to sell houses. He says, why don't we just go to 4.9 and beat the market and be the next one to sell? Because there's a lot of houses for sale. And they're fighting him on it, right? So we need to understand our sellers' true motivation and not be pricing their homes, right? If you follow our listing presentation, it says, these are the comps. This is your high price. This is your low price. Where this is quick sale. This is slow sale. Where would you like to be? We ask them those questions. We don't make the decisions for them. So he's at the point right now that he wants to fire his agents. He was super impressed with them. When I talked to him a couple weeks ago, these are the best ladies. There's 3 people on the team. They're awesome. And now he wants to fire them because they're not taking his advice and he wants the house sold. And he's smart. If there's 20 houses for sale in the neighborhood and they're all newer and fancier because they're newer, his house is 20 years old. And he recognizes as a smart seller that he is an older home competing with newer homes, even though they're on smaller property and all that other stuff. It doesn't matter. He's only got $4 million in it. If he sells it for $5 million, he's going to make $1 million, paying a full commission. Very proud to say he's paying a full commission, by the way, 6%. But the point is, we as agents can't price the home. We can educate the consumer. We can educate the consumer, ask their opinion, and some people really in today's market, their basis is so low and the competition is so high, they can afford to undercut, which is going to become a problem because once somebody undercuts and that house sells, what have you now got? You've got a new comp. That's going to affect the value of the house. So that's why every time you get an offer, you got to sell that offer to the best that it can possibly be. And if not, you counter it back. And I've heard so many success stories of our agents countering back, and making the deal happen. Because that's not what we used to do. We used to present an offer, have it accepted, and be done. We're out of that world now. Okay. So that's kind of where we're at. So those are my 2 stories. Boat tour, sell lifestyle, sell value, and don't listen to what buyers say they want. Give them opportunities and let them make their own minds up because they will change their mind. And it's not that they're liars, they're just confused. And the second thing is Uncle John, do not price their house. He ends up hating his agent now. Instead of they were the best thing since sliced bread, now they're not listening to him. And he wants the house sold. And he's willing to lower the price and they're telling him, no, that's not right. It's just not. So pay attention. Different people have different motivation. And it's our job as salespeople to find out their motivation. Okay. I wrote this down on my list just for fun. Office hours today at 9:45. That's an opportunity for you guys to listen in and hear other people's questions and learn, or to raise your own questions and help other people learn. So Joe Diener is hosting that this morning at 9:45. An email will go out with a separate link. It's not this link. And you have the opportunity to turn the cameras on and actually tune in and be a part of the class. So please do that if you can. That's at 9:45 this morning. My last topic today is, I talk about this every week. It's mindset, skills, action, and accountability. All right. So the mindset, who controls your mindset? You do, by what you're allowing into your head, right? Is there a recession coming? Maybe. Do houses sell during recessions? Yep. Is there a depression coming? I don't think so, but do houses sell during depressions? More, right? We won't be selling short sales or foreclosures, but we'll be selling houses no matter what, because people are going to get married, get divorced, have babies, become empty nesters, all that stuff. Hustle beats talent when talent doesn't hustle. Love it. Okay. So mindset, skills, action, accountability. So mindset's number one. If your head's not in the game and you think there's a problem out there, you have a problem. If you think there's opportunities, and look at the opportunities we're just talking about right here, they are abundant. And if you have that mindset going into it, you're going to have a lot better outcome than before. So that's mindset. Today, we're going to talk about skills. So I wrote down 7 skills. So we're planning, this is Monday, and hopefully you've already planned out your week. You looked at your calendar, you saw the events you're supposed to attend and classes you're supposed to take and meetings you have and showings you got set. So you know what your schedule looks like. But what have we planned to do to enhance our skill set? Right? Because let's admit it, we all need help building our skills. So skill number one, and I think this is really, really important, is the buyer presentation. Right? I know some of you are avoiding this conversation. You can't. You have to have this conversation. It's a mandate from the National Association of Realtors, and there's severe fines if you don't do it properly. Right? So you can't just force a piece of paper into somebody's hand and say, sign this. Well, you can, and a lot of people do because they trust you. Because part of the reason is you got this brand name on your shirt, right? It says Century 21, and we're the most trusted brand in real estate. So they feel like you're going to take care of them. So they'll sign whatever you put in front of them. But if you don't explain to them what it means, then they get themselves in trouble. You had a story last week where an agent of ours got an EBBA, and then another agent had a touring agreement with the same consumer. And the agent called us and asked us for a referral fee because they put so much time and effort into this buyer. And we're like, excuse me, the rules have changed. You had an agreement with that buyer. Call your buyer. Don't call me. I got nothing to do with it. You want to give me a piece of your listing? No, thank you. Right. So anyway, so the buyer presentation, and I'm going to push hard because we have a Moxie presentation that we built for you. You're welcome to take things out or add things in and customize it and add videos, and we encourage you to do that. But if you're not sending that out in advance and building up your value proposition, right, to the consumer, they're going to have a hard time committing to work with you. Right? It'll just be a wing and a prayer. But if you sell the value, they're going to appreciate you more and refer more business to you because you're a professional. Right? So this week, if you haven't done a buyer presentation or you don't feel comfortable with it, will you schedule a block of time, an hour a day? And I mean, not an hour or a day, an hour a day or 2 or 3 days a week to practice, go into Moxie and build a buyer presentation, put some comps in there. Those comps are so cool because they're fluid, right? If you put in 123 Any Street and it's active and it goes to pending, next time they look at that presentation, it's going to show pending because it's all tied in with an IDX feed to the MLS, right? So if you're not doing that, you're shorting yourself from a lot of opportunity. All right, so that's a skill I want you to develop. So if you're not feeling super comfortable with the buyer presentation, will you schedule an hour this week to practice it? Come on, it's not hard. Pick a time lot, put it on your calendar, block it off, and say practice Moxie buyer presentation. And then go, and if you don't know how to do that, then go to Jimmy's website or YouTube channel and watch the class on Dixie. You guys can't hear that because my microphone's pointing this way, but watch the class and how to do it. So that could be 1 hour, and then take another hour this week and block out time to actually build the presentation and send it to your sister, or your brother, or your mother, or your father, or somebody just to practice sending it and see what they think. They're going to go, wow, that's super cool and very professional. Okay. So drilling down to tactics, right? So I just asked you to spend maybe 2 hours this week, one, watching the video on how to do it, two, spending an hour actually doing it, because that will make a huge difference as you meet consumers. You know, I talk about Zillow all the time. I know it doesn't relay to all of you, but our Zillow team is growing, and our Zillow leads now are 4 times more than they were. And the Zillow home loans guy that I work with called me and said, Tampa is so hot. Zillow Home Loans is taking it out of the MSA, and Tampa's going to get its own mortgage leader just for Tampa because our leads are so high in Tampa right now. So that's Zillow time. And then they put that thing on the news yesterday. I'll show in the sales meeting tomorrow that Tampa's the #4 housing market in the country. That's good news because everything else you read on Inman and all that says the market sucks and it's the worst market in the real estate world. It's okay. Some people are having that. I choose not to partake. All right. So #1, buyer presentation. #2, yeah, and they know about the changes, and you need to be as professional to explain exactly what the BBA. Yeah, you have to explain the BBA, guys. It really makes no sense, and that's why. And we talked about at the manager meeting last week, making that clause that we wrote that says buyer attests that they have no other agreements with the other company. It's still optional, but we talked about making that just putting it in there automatically for you, just so you have that conversation with them. Have you signed anything else with anybody? Because we don't want to put them in a position where they got to pay two commissions. That's just not fair, right? And if they are in that position and they want to work with us and somebody else, they need to go cancel that agreement because we don't want that person to sue them, and then we'd have to sue them too. We don't want to go through all that. So just have that presentation. Okay, so buyer presentation number one. Number two, I'm going to say it, listing presentation, right? Our listing presentation is bulletproof. I promise you, you go from step A through step Z, and it's a natural end to a good presentation is a close. So if you're not comfortable with listing presentation, schedule an hour this week to practice the listing presentation. Go into Moxie, send one to your brother, your sister, your mother, your cousin, whatever, and send one and see and make sure you feel comfortable doing it, and then talk about it. You should be able to take every one of those pages without any script at all and just say, oh, here you go. I can do this. I can talk about this. Blah, 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 blah. It's all there. It just comes rolling off your tongue. It's natural. But if you don't practice it, it's not going to be natural anymore. So that's activity number two. So I'm going to ask you to do every one of these, right? I'm asking you to commit to something that your skill set is weak right now, and let's make it better this week. That's all. It was one of these items, not all of them. Maybe one or two, maybe one, just one, where your skill set is lacking. We'll talk about mindset skills. We'll talk about action next week, right? But skills. If you don't have the skill set, you're going to be reluctant to take the action. Number three, dot loop. It's confusing. I get it. I'm using it a lot right now and I'm getting really good at it, but I still call for help, right? So maybe we need to practice some dot loops. So maybe write a contract in dot loop, do some scratch outs, do some strike throughs, add some text boxes, add some initials, and send it to your brother, your sister, your cousin, your mother, and let them just see what you did. Practice a loop, right? I've got a whole section for Craig's personal documents. And anytime anybody sends me anything to sign, I upload it, I print it up to PDF, and I put it in dot loop, and I e-sign it, and I send it back. I don't even use my printer anymore. It's right over there. I just put everything to PDF, and I put it in dot loop, and I send it electronically. So if you're not that proficient in dot loop, and I know you're not, some of you are not because I've talked to Sammy, and she's helping with a lot of things, and they're coming through wrong, right? And on that point of dot loop, I'm going to talk about buyer agencies. You really, really, really need to create a loop for your buyer, call it buyer name, and then put the BBA in there, right? And this way you've already got the loop. And then when you go to contract, you'll just take that same loop, change the name to 123 Any Street, Jones, and then the BBA is going to be in there. And then you can add your listing agreement and all the other stuff. So dot loop is something if you're not skilled at, let's do some practice classes. Where would you find that? And Next Level U or at Jimmy's YouTube channel. Either one's going to have the same content. So practice some dot loop if you're not proficient at that skill set yet, because you really need to get proficient at it. Number four, Moxie. Man, you guys have a resource that is totally at your disposal. If you're not comfortable with it, will you spend an hour this week, just an hour this week, practicing Moxie, something, sending out a newsletter, doing a broad database search to your sphere, right? Whatever it takes that you need help on, spend an hour, go to Next Level U, the Next Level U, and watch a class and then do the exercises. An hour. That's all I'm asking you for. Because we got to start working on these skills and making sure we're proficient at them. Number five, contract mastery. Oh, we talk about this all the time. And it's so fun because I second guess myself a lot too. So it's not just you, it's me and you. But I do second guess myself a lot. And then I call Joe or I'll call Kathleen or I'll call Chris and they'll validate me. And they do the same thing. They'll read and say, I just want to double check myself. Right. So Jeff and I have this joke we talk about. It's RTFC, read the effing contract. If you read the contract, the answers are secretly hidden in there in black and white. It's really pretty easy, but you got to get really proficient. There you go. Yeah, Kathleen does it too. She's a lawyer and she second guesses herself on the contract. because it's a little bit confusing. I was talking to a loan officer the other day, and she was talking about her loan commitment. I said, we don't need, Kathleen said, I read it 3 times. Right. I told the loan, I said, you don't need a written commitment anymore. What do you mean? We don't need a loan commitment anymore because the contract changed and now it just talks about loan approval. And who determines loan approval? The buyer. That's a clause. If you don't have that down pat, and if you're not using a critical date timeline, you're exposing your buyers to major risk, right? So this particular loan is like an expensive loan, and the buyer's got a big deposit, and they want to. He's already been out of underwriting, but they still want a contingency for appraisals and other purposes. But as we talked about last Friday with Levada, this has got a big enough down payment that the appraisal is certainly going to cover the loan amount, but it may not cover the purchase price. And all the appraisal contingency in the contract says is it needs to cover the loan amount. But if you want the appraisal to match the purchase price, you need a addendum, appraisal addendum. So that's the type of contract mastery that you need. And it starts with RTFC, read the freaking contract and start understanding. If you don't understand it, highlight it and bring it up like at office hours today. Say, hey, I was reading standards 6 and it says, or Z or B or F or whatever it is, because they're letters. I'm reading the standards. I don't understand this clause. Bring it up. I promise you, I'll have the answer. And if I don't, somebody else will. 1 second. This is my boat detailer. Is Greg? It's Greg. Oh, come on. Is Greg? Yes, I am. I'm sorry. I should have called you. Thanks. You'll add him to the list if you will. He comes every month. Thanks, Sarah. Bye. Yeah, he's supposed to be here at 8:30. Shows up at 9:30. That's how it works. All right. So read the contract, highlight whatever you're uncertain about, bring it up at a class like office hours or a sales meeting or anything we do, and we'll help you figure that out or call. But that's part of your skill set is understanding that contract. So you're not, ooh, if you're scared when you write the contract, they're going to be scared when they sign it. So having the confidence makes a big, big difference. So that's a skill set I want to make sure that you're very good at. And if you need help, ask. Number 6, social engagement. I can't teach this point very well because I really don't do it, but I know a lot of people who do, and they're so proud when they get their post and how many tractions they get and the leads they get and all that stuff. It's a huge thing. Jared James just did a whole thing on, how to make social media work for you. So if that's an avenue or a lane you want to play in, maybe that's something you need to master, right? The skill you need to build. And if you don't want to do it, just admit it. I admit it. I'm not going to do it. It's just not part of my makeup. It's not what I do, right? But if it's something you want to do, maybe that's an hour you can spend this week on touching up your skill set on social media marketing. And I called it actually social engagement when I wrote it down because it's not just social marketing. You have to engage. The whole purpose is you can't just market without engagement because without engagement, the marketing goes nowhere. Right. And then number 7, right on time, a little bit late. Social management, sphere of influence management. And I'm gonna play this for you. I've talked about it every week. Jared James, yeah, he's on Instagram. I follow him, so I don't follow him on Instagram. I follow him by email, but he sends me an email and says I got a new Instagram. I watched his Instagram post on my email, and it said go here, and I'll send you my entire social media guide. Right. So Jared James, I know he's on Instagram. If you're an Instagram person, you find him there. If not, just Google it. I'm sure it'll pop up. Sphere of influence management. The number one, my partner in Hammock Bay, she's the number one Coldwell Banker agent in Florida. She says, Craig, all of my clients are past clients. She did 47 deals last year. She made $5.5 million. $5.5 million in gross commission income. It's a lot of money. All of her business is past clients. So the whole purpose of being in our business is to build our client database And so social sphere of influence management becomes really important. And you've got a tool in Moxie to make sure that happens. Right. But what I want you to do, and this is important for a skill set, we need to have conversations. Chris says it all the time. There's never been a real estate transaction that did not start with a conversation. Doesn't happen. So you have to have conversations. So how do you get people to converse with you? You ask them questions. So is it easier to ask questions to a stranger you don't know or somebody you do know? The answer is obviously somebody you do know. So the simplest thing I think you can do is say, hey, go to Zillow, look up your friend's house, your acquaintance's house, look up their address and say, take a screenshot on your phone or on your computer, whatever you do, and say, hey, I was just looking at your property on Zillow, and Zillow says your house is worth X. How do you feel about that? Question mark, send. That's it. Send 5 of those a day. That's a skill. And we talked about this sales meeting last week, and the agent said, yeah, probably take 10 minutes to do that. If you did that 5 a day, just 5, go to Zillow, screenshot, text it to your friend. How do you feel about that? I did it myself. I did it to myself. And it says my house is worth X. And I'm like, you're smoking crack. That is so freaking low. Right. But anyway, if somebody had sent me a text and said, hey, Zillow says your house is worth X, how do you feel about that? I'd say they're stupid. And then it gives me an opportunity to reply back and say, well, what do you think it's worth? Have you considered selling it? A conversation ensues, and that's it. So there's 7 things that if your skills are lacking, I'm asking you to spend at least an hour this week, block an hour out, and do something to enhance your skill set on one of those 7 tasks. Will you do that for me today? I don't care if you do it today, schedule it today. So plan an hour tomorrow, or spend an hour on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Just block it out on your calendar. Say, I'm going to spend an hour dedicated to skill building, right? Mindset, skills, actions, and accountability. Next week, we'll talk about actions. That is all I've got for you today. Office hour starts in 12 minutes. Joe Diener's hosting. And please do open houses. We were getting lots of good results, says Kathleen. Let me check my chats before I go away. There's a lot in there I didn't see. So she can help with that. Yep. Hustle beats talent when talent doesn't hustle. I love that. Life still goes on. Diamonds, diapers, divorce, death, and disasters. We got a lot of that going on. Once you've educated them on the system, they're comfortable and have no problem with ever signing any part or paying your part of the commission because they've demonstrated value. Perfect. See you at 9:45. Joe Diener says, office hours is getting better each week. Perfect. Sounds like the same agents that don't present your offer who waits to present the final hour waiting for other offers. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's horrible. Being a good agent is a hard job, right? It's putting yourself second and the consumers first. So you really, really, really need to do that. All right. I'm going to talk to my boat guy. I'll see you guys at office hours in about 10 minutes. Thank you much. Happy Monday.